Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead the widow. All right. But Israel, thou art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. All right. Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Behold, all they that were increased against thee shall be dismayed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive with thee shall perish. All right. So again, that's another promise. Behold, all they that were increased against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they shall strive with thee, and they that strive with thee shall perish, meaning be destroyed with violence. Thou shalt seek them and shalt not find them, even them that contended with thee. They that war against thee shall be as nothing, and as a thing of naught. Again, this is a future prophecy. This hasn't even come to pass yet. All right. So Israel is the special people chosen by the Most High through who the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. All right. And again, this also proves that the other nations are going to be the servants of the Israelites. All right. That they're going to be destroyed. I mean, their countries are going to be broken up, and we're going to have garrisons in those lands like David had, like Solomon had. All right. And pretty much going to police them and take their goods. All right. You're going to regulate what goes in and what goes out of those nations. All right. This is not a light thing that's being said here. And they that war against thee shall be as nothing. For I, Yahweh thy God, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, fear not, I will help thee. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument, having teeth, that thou shalt thresh the mountains, and beat them small, and thou shalt make the hills of chaff. This hasn't happened yet. Who is this going to happen to? The Gentiles, the actual Gentiles, not the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which I already proved that they're the Gentiles as pertaining to salvation. And the Gentiles as pertaining to slavery and destruction. This is who the scriptures are for. This is not to the Gentiles that pertain to salvation. All right, there's two types of Gentiles in the scriptures. Thou shalt fan them, the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them, and thou shalt rejoice in Yahweh, and shall glory in the Holy One of Israel. All right. And you can continue reading to get more understanding. But my point is made here. All right. That the Lord chose Yahweh, Bahashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, chose the Israelites to rule over the heathen. All right. We're going to move on. Isaiah 51:1. Hearken unto me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek Yahweh. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, into the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you, for I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. So Yahweh did not call the other nations. All right. He called Abraham. So that blessing of Abraham came on the seed of Israel. All right. Because he made a covenant, all right, with one man, Abraham. And that blessing went through his line. That's why I said, look unto your father Abraham. Our father Abraham. That's why Abraham is so important. Because he made that covenant with that man. All right. And that blessing came down on his seed, as I afore already proved. For Yahweh shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places. Again, this is prophecy and a promise. And he will make her wilderness like Eden. We're still laid waste. The people, the place is still laid waste. All right, and it's not. We haven't been transformed into Eden yet. So this prophecy is still pending. In her desert, like the garden of Yahweh. You got a big desert down there. Joy and gladness shall be found there, in thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Hearken unto me, my people. Give ear unto me, O my nation. All right. So, for a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. So here again, Israel is known as a nation of people. My nation. All right. My people. My nation. You got la'im, what word there for people. All right. Thorah, law. And in the Greek, you got ethnon or ethnos. All right. So they can't pay it, and they'll try to say this means that you're actual heathen. You're not an Israelite when you see ethnon or ethnos. That's the root. That's what you find in the New Testament when you look up the Greek for Gentiles. But it says the same thing about the Israelites. And it also speaks about, again, the law. All right. Oh, my people. Oh, it says, hearken unto me, my people, and give ear to me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. All right. So, yeah, are we supposed to keep the law? Yeah. We just changed the way in which we're supposed to keep it during this time. Meaning we're supposed to keep it to the best of our ability. And we're supposed to progress in these last days into becoming better and better. That's all. Because there was a time where we kept the law and then we did animal sacrifice. Then the Lord took away the sacrifice, and Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ, was a sacrifice. And then we're supposed to, not worship idols and don't eat things strangled. All right. And then as we move closer toward the second coming of Yahweh Shai, the prophets today were telling you that, yeah, we got to go back to our beginnings. Now, we're not keeping it perfectly, but we're rehearsing. All right. So as we move farther toward, the salvation, we have to become more like Yahweh Shai was. Like scripture say, be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. All right. So we both have to balance the faith and the keeping of the Lord's order. All right. Being more like Yahweh Shai. We'll never obtain it perfectly in these bodies, but we acknowledge that it is a good thing, and we have to push toward the correct mark. All right. We abstain from blood. We abstain from eating of the scavengers and pork. You keep the Sabbath to the best that we can do. Most of us still, And it's not going to change. Most of us have to work on the Sabbath because we don't have jobs, and we can just choose when we have off. All right. Not every brother has a job like that. All right. All right. That's it on that. All right. Galatians 3:14. That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMashiach. This is Galatians 4:1. So who are the Gentiles further? Galatians 4:1. Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. Even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of time was come, and you got to consider that, it was a time when certain things were acceptable. But when the fullness of time came, things were required. More things were required. But when the fullness of time was come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that they might receive the adoption of sons. All right. We got escorazo, to redeem, compensate for faults or bad aspects of something. All right. It says, freeing the elect from the dominion of the Mosaic law at the price of vicarious death of Yahushua. So the dominion of the law was, and that's true, meaning the penalty, as I read before. All right. To buy up for oneself, for one's self-use. All right. And that's a good definition. So the Lord brought us up for his use, to be his people. All right. To be the pillars in the kingdom of his kingdom. All right. To redeem them which were under the law. Who was under the law? Abraham and his seed, that we might receive the adoption of sons. All right, we read in Romans 9th chapter, and we read in Genesis 17th chapter that the adoption, the covenant, the promises belong to the Israelites. So the relationship which the power was pleased to establish between himself and the Israelites in preference to all other nations. All right. The nature of condition of the true disciples of Hamashiach, who by receiving the spirit of the power into their souls became the sons of God, which were the uncircumcision. All right. The multitude of nations, which I read earlier. All right, and that's who the Lord came to deliver. All right, this is not just isolated within the church and the churches in Galatia. Galatia. All right, it says Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man, but by Yahushua HaMashiach, and God the Father, or Yahweh the Father, who raised him from the dead, and all the brethren which are with me unto the churches of Galatia. All right. So this was a letter that was written to all the Israelites, or all the church that believed in Yahushua. All right. So this is a letter written to all the churches in Galatia that believed in Yahweh Shai. So this letter was propagated throughout the believers in this specific region. All right, and eventually, it spread everywhere because I have it today, and I'm all the way in America. All right. To be redeemed that were under the law. All right. Romans 9:4, who are Israelites to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the power and the promises. All right. So who are the Gentiles? The Gentiles are the Israelites that fell away from worshiping the Father, Yahweh. All right. And the blessing of Abraham came through his seed. Galatians 3:15, brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereto. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Hamashiach. All right. So the point is that there was a succession. Abraham, the promises was made through Abraham. All right, and then it passed down through the seed. All right, and I refresh your memory on the promise of Abraham. All right, that Israel was going to become a multitude of nations, or the plethos ethnon, or plethos ethnos, or many Gentiles, a multitude of Gentiles. All right, it says international, meaning everywhere, all over the planet. All right, but it doesn't mean international. It can you can say it's sort of a synonym. All right, but that's not directly what the word means. It means a nation of people. All right, and this nation of people was referring to the Israelites. All right, it said, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of Gentiles. All right, and those Gentiles were not being called Israelites. It's as simple as that. They were being called their respective nations in which they were. A Greek. Oh, that dude's a Roman. Oh, he's a Parthian. Oh, he's a Mede. You recognize the dialect? Those are Medes. All right. Then we just group them all together. Ethnos. All right, and that came out of the seed of the Israelites. All right, Zerai, seed. All right, simple as that. All right, that's the lesson. I made my point. I hope you Israelites, Yasher Allah, were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.